What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. How is everybody doing? It's been a while. These international breaks, oh my lord, I can't stand them. I always say this, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I cannot stand them. In 1 week time, however, what a game. The Olympico against Inter, I can't wait. It's going to be the game of our life. It really is. It's going to be our first game of our life of the season, and I'm very excited for that one. But look, Gasperini released a very interesting exclusive interview this morning to the Corriere dello Sport. I think he breaks a lot of interesting points apart in this interview. He speaks about, first of all, how and when the contacts with Roma started. Not that we necessarily care about what brought him to Roma and everything, but he spoke of the January transfer session. He spoke about this Dovbyk and Ferguson comparison and who, according to his hierarchy, is the starting striker up to now. And then he said, kind of out of the bloom, well, not out of the bloom, actually, as a rational human being, and we're going to discuss that in a second, that Roma right now is not a Champions League team and that our position right now is very casual. Our position right now doesn't mean anything, and that there's also he acknowledges the fact that there has been an element of luck in our primacy up to now. But a lot of interesting things. We're gonna go through them today. So yeah, if you haven't already, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. By the way, I also noticed that the microphone was a bit lower in these last couple of streams. I tried sorting it. I'm not sure if it's a bit louder now, especially to those of you who listen to me with AirPods or headphones on. I tried hiring the bars, so let me know if there is any difference in it. Right, a lot of things that he mentioned. I would like to start off. Okay. He mentioned how the reason he's here is because we're with Napoli fans, the most passionate fans in Italy. We're even more passionate than Napoli, absolutely. And he said that, it's this search for new motivations that brought him here. And then he kind of released and leaked that Ranieri started contacting him in December, which says a lot about Ranieri's plans. And that he kind of had his first round of talks with the Fredkins just as soon as the season ended, but that Ranieri had anticipated and contacted him in his availability to become a Roma manager at the start of 2025. So it was something that Roma was working on despite a long while. Then he mentioned, he mentioned how he's got a lot of trust and faith in the Fredkins, that the Fredkins have kind of promised him good things and that he's got good vibes. But those aren't things that we can kind of talk about. There are a few interesting points that I do want to speak about. Number one is this thing that he said, which I think it kind of caught a lot of people out of surprise, because in this exclusive interview he said that Roma isn't up to now a Champions League team, and a lot of fans from other teams, not from our fan base, but of course a lot of Lazio fans, for instance, kind of reacted to this, going, "Oh, look at Gasperini, look at the amount of money that Roma spent," and then Gasperini's already kind of putting his hands apart and saying, "Calm down," because he doesn't want the pressure. Again, you can think whatever you want, because football is subjective, and everybody here can have their own opinion. You can think that a transfer session was great. You can think that a transfer session was absolutely terrible. You can think that he was extremely backed in the transfer session. You can think that he wasn't backed in the transfer session. I think to say that this Roma team needs to get top four is a very big ask. Now, there's a difference in the statement that this Roma team needs to fight for top four and this Roma team needs to get top four at all costs. There is a very big difference between these two statements, which I don't think a lot of fans comprehend. We need to fight for top four. That is an obligation. Gasperini acknowledges the fact that he's got a responsibility of fighting for top four. Fighting for top four, pull up a fight, push for a fight, and ultimately try and get into it. Absolutely nobody disagrees on that. We need and have the responsibility and obligation to pull up a fight. Absolutely, 100% agreed. But where I disagree with you is when people say that he needs to get top four or it's a failure, or it has been an exceptionally failure of a season. I disagree, because I think it's very complicated to get top four. For instance, when you've got two strikers who can't even score with their hands, that's a limitation, and strikers need to score goals. So the fact that both of our strikers have difficulties in scoring goals is already something that needs to tell you that we have limitations. That doesn't mean that we won't pull a fight, but that also doesn't mean that we need to get top four at all costs. Of course, our finances requires top four for the money, for FFP, to spend more money, everything. Absolutely, we would love to get top four. And if you look at it on that positive perspective, that if we do get top four, a lot of our financial problems get solved, then yes, we need to get top four. We need to get top four so that we can have more freedom in the transfer market. But I still question our squad depth. I still am afraid that our squad depth is not good enough. And people who say that this team needs to that there aren't many differences between our team, Inter's team, Milan's team, Napoli's team, and Juventus's team, I'm like, you just need to look at the squad depth between us and them, and you realize that we aren't at their same level. Juventus have got an offensive choice of David, Vlahovic, and Openda, Conceição, Yildiz, and Zegrova. If that team doesn't get top four, that's a failure. Because the squad depth, the amount of money that they spent, is unbelievable. So, yes, for Juventus, you can pull up the case that if they don't get top four, it's a failure. We have Ferguson, Dovbyk. Okay, up to now, they can't score goals with their hands, so that's already a limitation. You've got Dybala, Bailey, who hasn't touched the pitch even. I mean, he stepped out of the plane and got injured. Dybala, who is made out of, we already know, porcelain. Sule, yes. And then who do you have? Pellegrini, who is always a question mark, because we feel like he always performs derbies and that's it. And then you've got Baldanzi. You see that there are differences. Napoli have got De Bruyne, Højlund, Lukaku when he's back, Luca, Neres, Politano. Like, there are differences. So people who are extremely surprised about, Gasperini is already putting his hands up front because he doesn't like the pressure and he doesn't want to get the pressure. I agree. Of course, he said this to kind of water the pressure away, to get the pressure away from us. Because everybody knows that we're the weakest team out of the top four. Maybe even top five. So everybody knows that we're the weakest out of them. So it's better for us to not have the pressure. Let everybody speak about us as we're the weakest team. Let everybody speak about us as we're the underdogs. Let all the pressure get kicked out of ourselves, and it's better for us. So yes, there's an element of Gasperini going, you let us cook, don't put pressure on us, let us cook. But there is also an element of realism. This team needs to fight for top four. But to say that this team needs to get top four if it's a failure, then compare our team with the other teams and then ask yourself a few questions. Okay? Number one. That's a very interesting point. Then he spoke about the Dovbyk-Ferguson duo, which, again, up to now, I've got a lot of question marks on who, according to Gasperini, is our starting striker. And he actually surprised me here, because he got asked a question about Dovbyk and Ferguson, and he didn't mention one word about Ferguson. He only spoke about Dovbyk and how Dovbyk is improving in training sessions. Dovbyk is improving on a physical point of view as well. So I think a big point to grasp from his interview today is that Dovbyk is our number one striker up to now. I didn't think this was going to be the case. I would have put my hand on fire saying that Ferguson was our number one striker, but I got proved wrong. I think when coming to this decision, there is also there's also a financial point of view, because I think Gasperini has Dovbyk, who you need to try and monetize with, and he knows that he needs to try and get the best out of Dovbyk in order to get some money from him this summer. Because realistically speaking, I think Dovbyk will leave this summer, if not in January. So you need to try and get something from him so that he can hire that value a bit. And on the other hand, you've got Ferguson, who's here on loan. So if he doesn't perform, we just bring him back to Brighton or West Ham, wherever he came from. So I think when coming to this decision, number one, there's the fact that, yes, Dovbyk has got more goals than Ferguson. Absolutely. That's mathematics. Dovbyk has 1 goal, Ferguson has 0 goals. I still think, and again, people hate me on this, I still think that comparing and choosing a striker over the other because one has 1 goal and the other has 0 goals perfectly describes the level of our strikers. But it's maths. You can't go against maths. Dovbyk has got more goals than Ferguson, so I guess Dovbyk deserves to start over Ferguson. Also, I think behind this decision there is a financial point of view. Dovbyk is ours, Ferguson ain't. If you want to sell Dovbyk, you need to try and get fitness and form back in him and goals back in him, so that you can get some money in January or in the summer if you sell him. However, this is where I said, I think in this interview he pushed for the January session again. Now, January sessions are always it's normally very complicated to do well in January sessions. We've got a good history with January transfer sessions, especially ages ago, because we always managed to sign good players in January windows. I look at Nainggolan, Perotti, players that maybe weren't appealing on paper, which ended up being monstrous with us. So Roma normally has a good appeal in winter sessions. But it is also true that it's hard to get good deals and it's hard to sell players in winter sessions. I think if Dovbyk, let's say, leaves in January, Gasperini expects a top striker coming in. I saw the name of Zirkzee today. I would absolutely love it. I think he fits the way Gasperini wants to play perfectly, and I absolutely love the player. So Joshua Zirkzee is the type of striker Gasperini wants if Dovbyk, for instance, leaves in January. But I think you also need in January to get another left winger, somebody that can Bailey's coming back. But if you get a starting left winger and you've got Soulé, then you can play Bailey as a jolly who can play both on the right and the left. You see what I mean? So I think, yeah, the biggest objective in January is reinforcing and spending and cashing in up front. Spending money good, because with a good offensive winter transfer session, we can kind of kill the end of the season with a good attack, score more goals, and then, who knows where we will be. But that's definitely another thing that he mentioned today. But other than that, look, it's the classic Gasperini who expects a lot, who's been promised a lot, and wants these promises to be kept. I will always say this: I am so happy that we managed to sign and convince a manager like Gasperini, because Gasperini is a serious guy. Gasperini has got a serious culture of work, culture of hard work. And I think he's proven to be at times a world-class manager. So I will say it again, because sometimes we tend to overlook, sometimes we tend to not appreciate the manager we have. I think this manager is a precious manager, and I will say it again for all of you out there, he is, if you back him, going to be the manager of our next Scudetto. I am convinced about this statement. I couldn't be more convinced. But you need to back him, and a serious club backs its manager, and that's what we need to do. Yeah, that's effectively the interview today. A lot of things. I like exclusive interviews because in exclusive interviews you get things that you don't normally ask managers or players or people in general. So it's always nice to break them to break them through. Right, let's get to the comments. De Rossi or Totti? That's a very complicated question. I assume that question is on a human level, who I kind of am most love the most on a human level. Look, I as somebody of my age, I love De Rossi more than Totti because I didn't appreciate Totti's golden era. So I I I don't have Totti's golden years in me. You see what I mean? I remember De Rossi more. I remember De Rossi as a leader more. And I think for young generations like me, the manager experience coming from De Rossi also helps in answering this question on a human level, you know? So yeah, who I kind of see Totti as I kind of see Totti as a magician and De Rossi as a brother, you know? So I'd probably go with Totti, but again, this depends on generations and generations and generations. It is. It's very dependent on age. Um, I'd love Zirkzee at Roma, says ZX Trenix. Kostas Simikas scoring for Greece yesterday. Simo says Nabil. I saw. Where have you been? Says Peter. I've been off, mate. I've been here. I've just took a few days off because of the break. By the way, did we all hear what Anthony Taylor said? That he made no mistakes in that Europa League final, and it's all Mourinho's fault and Mourinho's reaction that led to the fans being infuriated. I mean, sometimes people need to have the ability of acknowledging their mistakes. Again, a villain will never accept and fall into his mistakes. But I think for Anthony Taylor to come out and publicly say, I made no mistakes in a Europa League final, it was only Mourinho's reaction which influenced the fans, I think is abysmal. I think it's absolutely abysmal. I think you have to lock him up. You have to genuinely lock that man up. Audio is low, says Sammy. I don't know what it is. I mean, I try to hurry it up a bit. I'll try better. I'll try better tonight, but I don't know what it is. You see, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's this. Hang on. Is this better now? Is this better? Yes. Oh, I'm an idiot. I think I solved this. Hello, guys. Is it louder now? Yes, it is, because I can see the bar reaching the red levels. Yep, I think I solved it. I solved it in 2 seconds. I'm an idiot, I know. I had to. I wasn't clicking the good button. It should be better now, isn't it? I mean, it should be better because I can see the bar going way higher. So, yeah, let me know if it's better, but it's definitely better now. You should make a video trying to win the Scudetto with AS Roma and FC, just a suggestion, says Nabil. Mate, I love the idea and I would absolutely do it, but I'm past my FIFA age. I used to play FIFA every day. I used to play. I used to be quite good at FIFA. Even I'm not bragging. I used to be quite good, but I'm past it. I'm past it. I don't play video games anymore. I'm a grown man. I've got other things in my life, you know. Yeah, so I don't play FIFA anymore. And plus, I haven't bought FIFA. I think the last FIFA I have is probably like 23. Like 23. So, yeah, I'm past my FIFA. I kind of regret it because it was nice organizing FIFA tournaments with the boys, you know. Everyone has had that phase of sleepovers with the boys in FIFA tournaments, and I kind of missed that. But I acknowledge that you grow out of passions and develop new passions. But I love the idea. I mean, it's something that 16-year-old Simo would have done blindfolded. But yeah, you should do it. You should do it, and we will all follow you, mate. Wait, yeah, you see? The audio is better now. I'm a hero. Simo saved the day. Just scared the fuck out of me with the volume change. How many languages do you speak? I speak Italian mother tongue, English. I'm not mother tongue English, but I am mother tongue English. Like, yeah, as you can probably tell. I have no connections with English parents, but I speak English like an English guy. So English, Italian. I can hold a conversation in French. I'm probably like a B2 level in French. So I can speak French. I did French at school and I do French at uni. So I can, yeah. I mean, I went to France this summer with my family and I spoke French for them. So I can speak French. And I have set this goal of learning Spanish, not perfectly, but having conversations in Spanish by summer 2026. So I'm already on Duolingo and podcasts and everything. I'm a language guy. I love learning new languages because I love traveling. So yeah, I love learning new languages. But I've got the goal of learning to speak Spanish, not perfectly, of course, but to have a conversation in Spanish, which is similar to Italian, so it will probably take me less than summer 2026. But as an objective, Spanish by 2026. Because my big dream is to spend a month in South America. That's why I want to learn Spanish. Because somewhere in my lifetime, I will spend like a month and live South America. That's like my dream, guys. I'm in love with South America. Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Peru. So yeah, my big dream is like to spend a month in South America. But yeah, that's my language tics. Une mission. Moi, je parle un peu de français, hein. Je suis pas. Alors. On attend parce que je parle bien français, mais je ne parle pas très souvent. Quand j'étais en France cet été, moi j'avais parlé français en baguette, en pain au chocolat. Moi j'avais visité Paris et Manu connaît, il est mon pote. Manu connaît en mission, nous sommes en mission avec Manu connaît. Donc oui, je parle un peu de français. Je peux parler français avec un français, mais c'est pas parfait. Mais on doit commencer à parler de la Roma en français. Jules, j'aime Jules. Les chansons de Jules, l'artiste Jules de Marseille, il est très phénoménal. Yeah, that's all the French that I'll do for today. I'll do Spanish tomorrow and maybe Portuguese in a few weeks. Right, guys, Gasperini interview today. I will catch you tomorrow. Maybe, I'm not sure. Italy playing tomorrow. So I'm not sure if I'll do a video tomorrow. If there's something to speak about, yes. Otherwise, I'll catch you at the start of the week. Very big week. Inter next Saturday as first in the league. Bring it on. Right, I'll catch you soon. Hit the like if you like that French. For my French skills, hit the like, 100 likes, and I'll do a bit of Spanish in the next live stream. That's your bet. Simo out.